Well, if you're watching on YouTube, Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor YouTube, I think the way that Razor's dressed right now with the tie way to the side is pretty apropos. I mean, you look like you've been through the ringer, my friend.
Feel like it. I'll tell you that. I can't imagine having to play 2 hockey games in
Oh,
between all the shit that I did because I feel awful. Like I might not make it through the week now. I'm trying to figure it out. And so that goes to show how good those 3 points were that this team won, because you can just take a look at my outfit. I didn't want to change. Like I'm not sitting up. I'm literally,
so it's funny you say that because we are sitting and recording this episode of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. To be exact, it's 11:27 p.m. the night of January 27th, after the Boston Bruins skate to an overtime victory over the Nashville Predators at TD Garden. I ran, zipped home as quickly as I could after post game. And I'm like, don't change. I said, I just want to get out of the suit. I took just the suit top off and I threw the sweatshirt on. Razor didn't, because I think if you did, you would have fallen asleep. Because we're gonna get into. I will not bring the yawn counter out tonight for you, Razor, out of respect. For what you have gone through with travel. We'll get to that in a moment. Despite the fact, I mean, we haven't spoken. We speak, but we haven't done a brew for 3 games. Isn't that amazing? And it's just been 4 days, right?
Crazy.
That's it. So the last time we spoke to you like a regular Morning Brew, Jaffe and Razor, was the Saturday morning live EEI show that we did on Saturday. And then Saturday night, we had the Boston Bruins Montreal Canadiens game. And that, I'm probably having a recency bias here. Was that the most exciting game of the season? It's right up there. I know I'm forgetting some others. I know it. But
the other one in Montreal was really excited with the fights at the start of the game.
Yeah,
but at the Garden, yes, no question. And
the comeback. That's the other thing. The comeback,
that for sure is the only one this season. So that alone,
right,
negates everything. But no, it was the best in the Garden. Yeah.
Okay.
And the white jerseys.
White against red. Okay. Yeah. So we have a lot of best stuff for that game. So you had the Bruins Montreal game that the Boston Bruins win on Saturday night, an electric night at the Garden, 4-3 the final. If you were there, folks, you know it because you brought it. You were part of it. You were part of the energy. It was just fantastic. I thought it was a meh first period, if that's actually not great. Okay, second period, and an awesome third where they finally found and got some stuff going. Then the Boston Bruins get out of town early, along with one Andrew Razor Raycroft, to beat the mammoth snowstorm coming in. They do get to New York. They handle it, meaning they handle the travel, I think, just fine that night. They have the off day Sunday. Not Razor. Razor worked hard. In fact, Razor, that might have been the hardest you've ever freaking worked as a broadcaster that day.
Yep, probably.
You wish.
And guys skated, though. Guys skated, by the way. That wasn't an off day for them.
Right. And you went. You were the only media member there, I'm told. You should have had the old I get paid by the word that day.
I should have got paid for a lot of things. You're right. And yes, the word would have been one of them this weekend. Miles and all this stuff. So it was we got in late Saturday. It was really late. Guys had to turn it around just to go to the rink and practice, but there was no other time to do it. So they did it.
Yep.
It started the long week.
So the Bruins lose in overtime there, 4-3.
Yeah.
A game that they were leading late in the third. Then the Rangers tied it. Then they lose in overtime. We'll touch on all of it coming just to get through it because there's a lot. And then again, they come home back to back, but they don't make the trip home post game on Monday night. Can't get on the plane. Got to make it happen on a bus. And Razor, I'll let you take the rest of it. So I don't think you did planes, trains, and automobile. You just did planes and you did bus and automobile. Mm-hmm. And you did dig out the car. You in particular had to probably work more than anybody, I think, to get your car out.
Yeah, well, fortunately, the snowblower, Johnny Mac's snowblower, was still in the parking lot. So he
wait, tell the story if people don't know. This is worth it. Tell the quick version. This is
perfect. So last night after the game, the train was not brought up, but we heard the plane was stuck somewhere else, and everyone had their bags. We were ready to go, and there was talk, a bunch of scenarios. Turns out we have to go back to the hotel, but we also have to wait to go back to the hotel because they don't have rooms ready. They don't have everything set up, so we got to wait. Guys had to hang around a long time. Then we get up in the morning and bus because the plane isn't going to be there in the morning. It would have to fly in. We wouldn't get on it until 1 or 2, which puts the game in peril. Bruins can't turn it over. So that happens. Get on the bus. Players go first. A couple other buses were later. But then, of course, we left before 2.5 feet of snow smoked New England. So we get back, and the players' cars, Johnny Mack, skills coach for the Bruins, a few other guys were up there digging out cars, but they would not think that somebody on that plane had a Prius like I do. So that was the one that was in the snowbank. I opened I was happy to dig it out myself. I know exactly where I stand on the totem pole of this organization and this trip. So I'm digging myself out. But like I said, Johnny Mack found me down at the other end. He came running down with the blower. I cleaned off half of the car with my hockey stick that was still in the car. And we got in and got home I got home like 2:00 this afternoon. So it was a quick one. Crazy day. Listen, like a lot of that was a big fortitude, mental strength game by those players for your Boston Bruins. I don't think anyone really appreciates what went into the last 2 nights for them.
Yeah, this is one of those. This is like a bit. This is not like, this is a business trip for that guy who, or gal that gets stuck in the airport overnight and then has to go find a hotel somewhere. The hotel they say they can stay at is right near in the airport, and then, oh no, sorry, we don't have a room for you. So you get on a bus because there's no taxis or Ubers or what, you know what I mean. The next thing you get to the hotel, you get about 39 minutes sleep because you're worried when you wake up, if you go to sleep for the 3 hours, that you're not going to wake up in time, right? Then you go back to the airport to supposedly get on the plane, which then still backs out of the gate, and you sit on the tarmac for about 3 hours. Then it's the equivalent of that. Oh, then you still have to go to the meeting.
Yeah, I was going to say, most importantly, you have to present as soon as you land wherever you're going. After doing all of that, you have to actually perform.
You got to go to the sales meeting. So, all right. So then the Bruins come home, they win. We laugh because everybody got back safely. The cars are okay, etc., and the Bruins win. So now they go 2-0-1 in their last 3. And we talked about. I specifically talked about taking a bunch of like segments, right? The Vegas and Montreal game was one series, so to speak. Well, they win both 4-3, so they're 2-0. Then the Rangers in Nashville I had as a segment. And I don't know if you agree with me about this or not. This is what I looked at it because it was back-to-back. And they get 3 out of 4 points, 1-0-1. Now you have the one-off with Philadelphia, which is its own thing, which kind of, I don't want to say concerns me, but I really don't know what the heck to expect in that one now, Razor. I just don't. And then you got this 2-game series in Florida that's going to be about 6 days down there. So that's its own mini series as well. So far, so good, though, partner. They've got 7 out of 8 points in those first 4 games. Pretty damn good. And they've put themselves, again, firmly established in the playoffs. And I know it's a ways to go still, but they're tied basically for 3rd in the Atlantic right now as we sit and talk.
Well, they're over 600 winning percentage now. This isn't this is legit, folks. This is full on legit. And they're playing really good hockey again. They've got this, they've got their system, they've got their team well organized to just they're cruising, right? They're just kind of riding the wave and like finding ways to do it. Nothing fancy, nothing exciting, really tough stretch in the schedule. And
are these the dog days?
This is 6 of 8. This was 6 of 8 tonight with the shit travel I just went through. The whole thing. And they've only given up 1 point in those 6 of 8 games. It's real good.
So are these, we talk about the dog days of the season. This seems to me to be the real slog fest. These, not just these 2 games that we just came off of, but even a few before. But the thing for the Bruins is they came home, and to take on Vegas. And after that, not very good Dallas game, but they responded really beautifully there for 2 of the 3 periods. And then Montreal just got everybody's attention again. And now I feel like these next couple are the dog days because you can see whether it's a trip to Italy or a trip to the Bahamas right in front of you right now. And I felt like I agree with you that they've got their system, they're healthier. We'll talk about that. They've got their guys going, their stars have coming through. But I also kind of feel like they're playing teams that aren't as physical. And I think they're having a hard time the last two games, Razor, engaging in that grind fest that makes the Bruins very hard to play. And therefore, I think these games have been almost more difficult for them because these teams that they've played, both Nashville and Rangers in particular, they're not looking to get involved in that stuff.
No, not at all. In the Rangers game, they're down and out. There was no energy in that building. I mean, MSG was as quiet as I've ever heard it. It was a library. So not much energy at all in that. The Rangers are checked out. So to your point, it's hard to, it's understandable to kind of get lulled. And then this one, I think they did everything they could to get into it, and prove and get the win that they did. But it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't a pretty game by any means. They couldn't connect. They couldn't make plays. They're fighting it. And if it wasn't for David, then, it's the same thing. It's a 2-1 game but you have one of the best players in the world. So he helps out. It's a dog days now, though. Now you can really see the end of the light and at the tunnel. You see the finish line. You've got Philly at home, so you've got one more home game. It'll be easy. I think it'll be easier to get up for that one. That's a full-on 4-point game. That's a big changer. Philly's right behind them. And then so you don't have that West Coast thing like Nashville. It didn't, you don't have that. Philly will. And then who knows with the outdoor game, and then Florida at the end, that always brings a little bit of something. But guys will certainly be checking their departure times on the way out.
Yeah, their itinerary somewhere. Yeah. All right, well, you bring up Pastrnak, and let's just get right to it. You talk about one of the best players in the world, and he is, and he's doing this. He's doing it now. It is such an impressive way as he is verbalized that he is now a disher. He actually said yesterday in media in New York, he said, I realized early in the game I was going to be a disher again. He's a pasta dish, right? I mean, that's what he is now. He's a disher because, he had the 6 assists a couple of weeks ago against the Rangers, and they really focus on him so much. But I also think, and it's little, but it's big. It's Marco Sturm having the feel to put Geekie back with him because Geekie started going again previously, right? And the fact that Geeks was open a lot and Geek got his game going again, Pasta's dishes are even more delicious, so to speak. And yes, Elias Lindholm against the Rangers, he had a couple too. But Pasta's ability to create, he's dancing out there, Razor, right now. Dancing at a level, again, recency bias speaking here. He was freaking fantastic last year for a long time without much help, like MVP caliber stuff. Mm-hmm. But this year feels a little different even, especially right now with the stretch that he's on.
Yeah, and it just evolves all the time with him. That he just keeps getting better, to your point. And a game like today, that again ran everything through from the first puck drop. David was all over everything from front to back. And of all the guys that could have taken today off, of all the guys that could have had a bad day, of all the guys that is a superstar that would look past a day like this, he didn't, and he doesn't. And it was almost the opposite, where he really put it on himself to be driving that ship. And it was right from the puck drop. First 4 shifts, he had chances on every one, or his teammates did because of him. And then it really paid off, especially on the Geekie goal. And then, of course, overtime was, Catholic win. It was that was a perfect 15 seconds of overtime.
Oh, it was, just spectacular. And the attack mentality was just so fun to watch. Why has Morgan Geekie found his game so much?
Well, I think you get that tip goal against Dallas, and then you feel, okay, relief. And now you look at the goal. Today's goal was just a shot.
Oh my God.
Just perfect. Right in the wheelhouse for him over on that side, puck in the middle of the ice. He gets a luckier one against Jonathan Quick. comes up big against Montreal. One was a tap in, but that shot. So the shot goes in a couple of times this week. Basically, that's the difference. He gets to the front of the net. He's playing with David in New York, where David shone and got 3 assists. And then tonight, he just beats the guy with a shot again.
Let's talk about this goal that he scores tonight when he gets the puck after David Pastrnak is like, it's not even a one-man highlight reel. I mean, he's doing things that you see players do in summer training sessions there, Razor, like you see you get a lot of the instruments on the ice, a lot of the stuff that these skills coaches are using, and guys are dancing around them, and they're jumping, and then they're stick handling under things, and then they're chipping pucks over. And you're like, well, when are they going to do all that in a game? Like, when is that really, and then you watch him do it like that. And one-hand backhand pass along the wall on the left side, after 2 guys get to him, after he spun away from somebody up just inside the blue line, and then Geekie gets it and attacks. He uses the heel of his stick, Morgan Geekie, from the left wing side, and he gets a real wide base, almost, because he loads on the left skate. He heels it. You don't see many heel release shots anymore, Razor. You see more toe, or at least mid-toe, right? Mid to toe. And he absolutely snipe cities it over the glove side of UC Saros, who played pretty darn well in this game, I thought, with a shot that I don't think it just awesome the way it went.
It was, and he lets it go off the heel because he has a stick way out. He's on his off wing. He uses his reach to get angle and go around Saros basically with that heel curve. And you can't go off the toe if it's that far away from you. It's in a perfect position. He just kind of lifts it up and over with a quick release and a little bit of pace on it. But the quick play and like because you don't see many heel releases, you don't see full wrist shots too often anymore. Probably took Saros off kilter a little bit. Yep. Usually that's a toe drag short side, and I think that's what Saros was kind of sitting on.
Yeah, I mean, to beat a goalie now, I know Saros isn't the big. We talked about it, but you mentioned on the broadcast that his body positioning is really good. He attacks the puck an awful lot, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. He didn't seem like he could attack it there. It was like he had to almost hold for a second. What was he going to do? I'm telling you, folks, if you haven't seen the goal, watch it. You're going to love the shot. I mean, it was right below us, Razor, where our Nest and studio suite is, and it's just a magnificent. You almost couldn't believe it how pristine of a placement it was. So he's got now points in 5 of 6. Yes, he gets the tip goal in Dallas. Before that, 2 games where he got an assist. I know it's not a goal, but still gets a point in Seattle. I don't know if it made him feel good or not, but his former team, he got an assist. So points in 5 of 6. He's back. He's putting up points. One downer from the Nashville game, though, was Elias Lindholm going down near the end of the second period, right near the end of the second period, off of a face-off. Innocuous isn't maybe the right term, but you couldn't really pick up what exactly the ailment was. He grimaced after he turned off the draw and got hit, and it was almost like a twist. You consider and surmise it's called an upper body injury. I don't think I saw contact to the head. Maybe you did. I didn't, but more of like an oblique, a back type of thing, maybe. Just guessing here. I mean, it's probably stupid to do, but this is kind of what we were thinking, that's all we could surmise, but he did not return to this game.
No, he didn't. And that was kind of the underlying current of the way the travel went the last few days, was like, just hopefully everyone gets through. So because of that play, it didn't seem like, at least it wasn't a guy skating down the wing like Arvidsson early in the year, where he pulls up and that's a straight muscle injury. This one, with a little bit of bumping and stuff, who knows? I guess we'll wait and see, how this plays out. You're thinking about the Olympics too, right?
Yeah. I mean, how can you not?
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of the Olympics, congratulations to the other Lindholm, Hampus Lindholm, who gets onto Team Sweden's roster for Jonas Brodin. I thought you could tell he was jacked up early in this game, Razor. Not just the goal, but how about that one-man breakout? I don't know if I've seen him accelerate like that in a long time. He was he was revved up as he took the puck from the Bruins end below the net all the way into the offensive zone, basically. So he gets an opportunity to represent Sweden, and he gets a goal in this game after a great play made by Fraser Minten, winning a face-off on his what you would call weak side, on the right side in the first period, winning it back to the point. Lindholm gets it from Lowry. Lowry's pass is good, and Lindholm separates wide, takes a shot from far out. Did you say it caught the Predator forward Wood's hand, his finger,
Yes.
you thought?
Yeah, Matthew Wood. It hit him just straight on the right hand, and it threw off Saros and just went in perfectly right inside that post.
So it goes in after Fraser Minten had come by as well. He worked his way to the front of the net with a really good, I'll call it a flash screen, meaning he just got into the area. I don't know if it threw off UC Saros or not, but you got to give the kid credit, right? He at least got there.
Yeah,
that was good stuff. Let's do this. Let's do our spark of the game, or spark of the games plural. You want to do that since we last sat down and did kind of game summaries, or at least
we'll go all the way to the Montreal game?
Sure, why not?
Geeky goal, the disappearing puck act in the garden. We talked about the buzz that was in there to come back. So for sure, for me, of the last 3 games, as great as an overtime David Pastrnak goal is, Geeky gets it because of the circumstance on Saturday.
I don't know, the goal that Razor's talking about, which I'm guessing at 99.9% of our listeners and viewers, you guys know it because you're such great fans. Morgan Geeky gets a heavy one-timer from the shot, the left side, and it's a power play goal midway through the third. I'm trying to look it up exactly what time. 14:07 mark to be exact. Hammers it, and it goes by the blocker side of Montembeault, but nobody sees it. Everybody, in fact, thinks it's gone out of play. Everybody, Elias Lindholm's in front. He doesn't even know where it went, and it ends up staying in the apron in the back there. Geeky figures it out, and about a half a second later, he skates up. Admittedly, after the game, Razor said, I think I thought it went in. I didn't know for sure, but then he skated up, and he sees the black mark in the back of the net, the puck there, and he points at it. The referees all kind of get together, and then they go to review. They correctly call it a goal. The place erupts. So that is our spark of the game, Morgan Geeky's goal. That was his 28th of the season. He now has 30, a couple more since then. Sparks Hockey, go to sparkshockey.com for the finest at-home skate sharpener you can find. You got NHL logos. You can put your Boston Bruins logo on it if you want and represent your favorite team. They're all different types of radius that you can do. So they're wheels. Go to sparkshockey.com. That's our spark of the week. Have you ever experienced something like that before, where as a goalie or somebody scored on you, or that they didn't know, or you didn't know? Even Montembeault actually knew, right?
He knew right away. He knew right away. It's like he kind of slumped, and then he was like, oh, maybe I got away with something. Definitely. I mean, like, think of that scenario or something along those lines without video review. Like that, there were so many of those times where, and I think at the end of the day, it all evens out for guys, over there. If you play long enough, it just kind of evens out. You get away with a few, where I know I got away with a bunch that were over the line, but you pull it back and without the camera. There's a bunch of those, and then there was a few that probably hit the crossbar and came down where the referee thought it hit the back of the net and didn't, right? Like, so you had different ways of getting beat with goals. That one would have been really interesting without video review, because even though it was in the net, the linesmen kind of were like, oh, maybe it came through the side. And, there used to be holes in the nets too. Right?
That's the thing.
There's probably a couple of those
anymore.
Honestly, like at some point there was a hole in the net where I actually got away with it or didn't get away with it. Probably went both ways at some point too.
I almost miss the days with holes in the net.
Yeah.
I do. Now it's almost like boring for the linesmen. They come out, they act like they're actually checking for holes. These nets are so beautiful now. They are restrung all the time.
Well, and it's like offside. You don't even have to check, because if it goes through the net, they're going to replay it anyways. So I don't need to worry if there's not a hole or not. Right? It's gone. It's like the dodo bird.
It's like, listen, I lines for a couple of years in the NCAA and ref as well, but I started out as a linesman, and you actually had to check the nets in
Yeah.
those times.
Yeah.
You had to go there to really, and it gave you purpose. You came out, you took a lap, you know, you knew the senior linesman took the net that he wanted. You went to the other one and you checked it, and you're like, okay, it's all
We're
good.
ready.
I did my job here in
That's right.
pregame, right?
Exactly.
Now these guys, they got nothing to do. And
No.
these nets are just they're really they're spectacular. They're bright white, and the netting is just awesome. What they do there. Razor, I told you, you know, about how I changed. I put the sweatshirt on just to get a little comfortable. You know what else I did when I got home? Take a guess. I took my sunset. I did.
Ready
I
for
took my
sleep.
sunset. Like I went gummy tonight. I
Ooh.
did. I went gummy. I did the good night gummy, the one without melatonin. And the reason I did that, I got an early morning tomorrow. I've got a 6 a.m. wake up. So the other one, a little bit stronger. It's THC free still, but it doesn't have melatonin. So I took the good night gummy. So when we're done, I can go right up to bed and get myself hopefully started into sleep. Check out sunsetlakeCBD.com. Use the code BREW20 for 20% off the site. You too can try, whether it's a sleep gummy, a good night gummy. They got sour bear gummies. They got CBD stuff. They got a whole bevy of stuff. And this company out of Northern Vermont is all about customer service. You can talk to them about anything you want. Any questions you have about any of their products. They got a great website. They also have topicals besides stuff that you know you can digest. They have topicals that can relieve sore muscles and aches and help rehydrate your skin. So go check out Sunset Lake CBD and sunsetlakecbd.com. Use the code BREW20. You too, if you have some trouble sleeping, or you know, hey, with all the snow on the ground, there's a lot of stress out there, a lot of anxiety or sore muscles. Sunset Lake CBD has got you covered. Now, if there was ever a perfect time for Razor to talk about the importance of getting a great Toyota car, it's after you had it dug out. Yep. The poor Prius was, I don't know if it was suffocating, brother, but it was covered up significantly. You had no problem when you got there. You got yours at Copeland because you can count on Copeland, and you were happy. I know, even though you were miserable because you were tired and it was covered in snow, you were happy that your Prius that you got from Copeland was working beautifully.
Never in doubt that it was going to get out of there. I got all-wheel drive on my Prius, and it was going to turn right on because I've got it serviced at Copeland over and over again. I know it's tip-top shape. They're the best there. So, yep, Copeland, my Toyota, my Tahoe. I'm sure my wife drove it into the ground while I was gone with all the snow. She does not slow down, and it's still in one piece when I got home. So praise cannot be given to Copeland more than enough for my cars.
Count on Copeland.com because you can count on Copeland. They've got Toyota, Chevrolet, and Subaru dealerships. Check out countoncopeland.com looking for a new ride. Lastly, I have been drinking my fair share of Fazenda because it's getting, or has been, cold, and it is going to get colder. I am actually not looking forward to this week, Razor. I'm not. I'm not even looking forward to the weather in Tampa if I even make it.
That's
down
actually
there.
Worse, to be honest.
Miserable.
It's a little bit worse, yeah.
Folks, I'm sure if any of you are going down to Tampa, which I'm sure there's a handful, if not more, that are going to be heading down, and I'm sure you've looked at the weather. It's crazy. They don't need the tent or the temporary facility. The ice is going to be unbelievable.
I need to layer up. Like, I'm bringing layers. I'm preparing for like a Patriot game. That's what I'm doing.
Well, I'm doing the game. I should say this. I'm supposed to do the game ringside because of this next storm that's coming in. I don't know if I'm going to make it down there, Razor, because I need to get back for the bean pot. So
I don't know.
Anyways,
bad here.
You can count Fazenda. Sorry, I didn't give it Fazenda. It's due. FazendaCoffee.com/morningbrew. I'm going to be drinking a lot of Fazenda in the next week or so, whether I go down to Tampa or not, because it's going to keep me warm. FazendaCoffee.com, the prime Boston boutique coffee roaster. Check out Morning Brew Blend. Check out everything there that they've got. The best coffee you can find, and free shipping from there. So Fazenda Coffee. Let's talk about it's a little bit old, broken record. Well, no, first thing, everybody, big gulp when Nikita Zadorov went down against Montreal, right? Leg injury, knee, ankle, don't know, nothing specific. Okay, we know that it looked gnarly. I saw it a few times. I've done my ankle 5 times. It's awful, Razor. I don't know if that's what it was, but I'm thinking it was a knee, leg. We know it was a leg injury. Know that. But the fact that he was able to come back and play a bit was incredibly impressive in my eye. All right. I mean, I think your eyes too. He goes out and he skates. You were in New York for the pregame skate. We had it, back in the studio. He looked fine. He looked great, but they held him out. Just seems like a precautionary thing to me. Just a chaotic couple of 48 hours or so, given all the travel and everything and lack of rest. I'm guessing that had something to do with it because he ends up playing well against Nashville.
Yeah, and then the back-to-back. So it seems like it was one of those, and this happens. This happens kind of regularly, where someone gets injured and they can't play back-to-back. For sure, like there's just nothing you do, but they can play one of the games where you're just going to need a little recovery. So it feels like that was kind of because he was getting around the ice fairly well yesterday in warm up and in pregame skate. He was doing what he needed to do. But if you're only playing one game, maybe it's better to play the backside and get a little more rest on the front side of the game. Like all these injuries that kind of go into, or maybe would have been better to play the Ranger game and then sit out this one and get 2 days rest. But in this situation, now in hindsight, if he didn't play if we were talking after a Ranger game, I would have been like, well, maybe he might not play the rest of the week. Like maybe it is bad. Maybe it didn't respond. Hindsight's giving us the perspective that he could only play one of these games. They chose to give him an extra day, do it against Nashville, and it worked out.
22 minutes. He played a very important role for this team. I thought he looked good. He was, and I say this, he had no hits to his credit, to his docket. That's rare. I don't remember. Again, I'm sure it's happened, but incredibly rare. It was not that physical a game against Nashville, first of all. And second of all, I think the team in general just was playing, and they weren't playing not to lose. They were playing just a different kind of controlled way. They had a couple of shifts, a couple of dust-ups, nothing more than that, though, Razor.
No.
But he had a couple of nice plays in this game, some good stick work, a couple of shots on goal. Thrilled to see him play. And now he gets a full day off on Wednesday, and hopefully it responds well, and he's able to play come Thursday. Speaking of playing well, playing a lot, not as we were talking in postgame, it was, even though Charlie McAvoy played over 27 minutes again, it was kind of quiet 27 minutes, and that isn't meant to be like bad 27. Obviously, overtime, it was an impactful 15 seconds that he was on the ice. But it wasn't, we've seen him whipping around the ice the last couple of weeks, like an absolute player possessed. He is at a different level than we have seen in a couple of years. Maybe, is it fair to say ever? I don't know if that's fair. I'd say it's been a little while though, right? We saw actually some of this at Four Nations before he got hurt, at least in my eyes. All right. But a 27-minute game against Nashville, after playing a ton, and I'm pulling up what he played, I don't remember, 24:07 against the Rangers the night before. This is the 6th time this year that he has played over 27 minutes. Last year, Razor, only one time did he reach that level.
And he left the game last night. He probably would have got to that 27-minute mark.
Yeah, you're right. Good.
After the end of that first period. But just like you just talked about Zadorov, everyone was just finding their pace and doing what they could. Nothing overextending themselves on any plays, overextending themselves to go get a hit. Nashville isn't that team to that point as well. You didn't have to worry about anyone getting hit. So it was a ho-hum 27-minute night game. There's 700 players in the NHL, and I would guess 15 of them will play 27 minutes in the entire season. So it's ho-hum for him, but it's impressive when you can do it quietly, like you just said.
Points in 11 of the last 13 games now for Charlie McAvoy. And he's on fire.
Yeah, he really is.
He's, I think if I remember correctly, I know my notes here, 3 goals and 13 assists in those. Actually, is it 14 games? Maybe that's what it is. My numbers are always a little off, but he's been going, man. He's been absolutely going. And in overtime, let's talk about this overtime goal with Kastelik, who has been used all year. Another great coaching approach from Marco Sturm. Basically all year, or at least after, early in the year, having Kastelik win the faceoffs or go out for the faceoffs. He wins it cleanly, pushes it over to the right wing side. McAvoy accelerates and says, I'm not stopping. I'm not getting it and letting Kastelik. I'm aggressively attacking down the right wing wall. Kastelik goes off. Hustadinov jumps on. McAvoy and drops it eventually to Hustadinov, and then Pastrnak rolls around. And the next thing you know, we're seeing the absolute, it's not the flying V by any stretch, but it's like the razzle dazzle, right? In the offensive zone, the ultimate flow game. I think PJ called it the Harlem Globetrotters, like when against the Washington Generals, where they start doing their weave.
Three-man weave.
It was absolutely gorgeous. It ends up with McAvoy getting it on the left wing side. The righty defenseman drives, takes a little shoulder dip, and then puts a pass to a streaking David Pastrnak, who comes into the crease area, uses the forehand to redirect it, and firmly makes no contact with Saros until after the goal goes in. Bruins win about 15 seconds into overtime. Not about 15 seconds in. Razor, I don't know if it was drawn up this way. I will tell you what was drawn up this way was the faceoff win. And Kastelik has become, I said this on the air too, very, in lacrosse, you have guys that are faceoff specialists. That doesn't mean that's all he does during the game, because we know he does more. But in overtime, his specialty is winning faceoffs. Marco will not hesitate to put him out there.
No. He leads with them on purpose now. What a find too, right? But and just an idea of doing it that way, and then having it work once, and that now I'm doing it all the time. He's consistent. He's leaned into it, and it keeps getting better. And David does a great job on the faceoff too of closing out. He takes the body right away. We're always on the kids about taking the body and being ready on the faceoff on your toes. David was on his toes. He knew it was coming to him. He knows he has to close out, and McAvoy needs to come underneath. It was completely orchestrated perfectly. And Kastelik just does it again. And it's a great, simple way to reward a guy like that, right? It really is. And you continually see the chest get bigger of a guy like Kastelik, because that's what he does. That's how he is rolled. That's how he can influence today. That's like a win for Mark Kastelik today, to do that 15 seconds out. As great as David and Charlie,
that's a game-winning goal for him.
May play. That's Kastelik comes off the ice. Like, I did that. And that just emboldens not just him, but his line. Then Corrali and Janot feel it. The third line feels it. The guys that don't play overtime are pumped for Kastelik on top of everything else. So it's just a great job to build a team. And that's what they are.
And another thing that was brought up, I believe it was Morgan Geekie in our post-game sound. He talked about how Keto switched the blades of Murat Hustadinov, or at least one of them. I think both. You usually switch out both when you're doing it, I guess, right before overtime. And that allowed, I guess, Murat to come. And Geekie pointed out, like, he talked about that. He talked about Johnny McLean and snow blowing out the cars. He talked about everybody stepping up. So that's great to see in Kastelik. A huge part of that. What a wonderful, just the guy has had a wonderful season in Mark Kastelik. He has, and really connected in so many ways, and so right. All right. Lastly, 20 wins now at home, Razor, the home record, the best in the East. Very important. Becoming again a very hard place to play. Next game is against the Flyers, who are going to be playing a back-to-back. They have in Columbus on Wednesday. Then they play the Boston Bruins on Thursday, both on the road. Maybe Dan Vladar plays for them, maybe not. They are scuffling, just 2 wins in their last 10 games heading into the Columbus matchup. So we'll see how they do. Vladar could come back. He's been their savior, basically. When they were playing well, he's been their guy. I guess the only other thing I need to get to, I mean, the Montreal game, we could have done our own show there, but we couldn't because you were leaving. But what a game that was. What energy, different feel, right? Didn't have the fights to begin. I thought it was more of a chess match. Again, I thought the Bruins were okay, a little better, and then really good in the third. I thought they attacked well. Fraser Minten got a goal, and I just want to, I've just got this thing on Fraser Minten right now about how much he has improved and how much he's gone from freshman to sophomore year the last month in my eyes, Razor. Where you do college games, you see that, right? From one year to the next. This is like he's gone from one year to the next in season, offensively at the very least, right? He's just put up so much. He gets the backhand goal to make it 3-3. Maybe Montembeault would say I should have had it, but I give the kid credit. We're always calling his name in the middle of the ice now. He's always in the middle of the ice. And he's showing a strength that your good buddy, Patrice Bergeron, I think a lot of people said, man, I didn't realize he's not that big, but man, is he strong. He's really strong. And I give the kid huge marks. He has improved eons offensively in the last month.
Yeah, and it's because he's getting in the middle of the ice. You just said it. That he's figured out where I can still defend at different times being in the middle of the ice. I think at the start he wanted to be a little bit higher, a little bit more on the periphery, a little bit just defensive. And now I think he's figured out with his IQ that I can defend here and still close out on the outside, or still get to that loose puck, or still be the first guy back. And that's really given him an opportunity to improve on the offense.
I believe he now has 13 points with the assist in this game on Tuesday night in his last 14 games. Just nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kid is fantastic. What a trade. Lastly, and I really mean it this time last. Speaking of trades, I'm watching Pavel Zacha tonight. And Pav does so much for this team. And then I remember, and Eric Haula was out there too. Remember, these players were traded for each other a couple of years ago.
Unbelievable.
One of the better trades in the Don Sweeney era, if not arguably. I mean, you could already say the Fraser Minten Carlo one's pretty damn good, considering the Bruins are also getting a first-round pick back. But does it go under the radar? The Zacha for Haula trade? Is it not appreciated enough? I mean, Haula was okay for the Devs the first year when he went there, but he's now back. He's with the Nashville Predators, and Pavel Zacha is doing his thing, and his line has been by far the most consistent line for the Bruins.
They have been. I think, I mean, nationally, you're not going to get that. That's not going to stir anything for anybody. But I think here locally, it should be seen. I mean, imagine what this team would be without Pavel Zacha. Like, I could contend that you get past a couple of the guys that we talk about all the time that, of course, we know you can't have. Pavel Zacha's next after those guys. And if he wasn't here, then the Bruins would have a much harder time up the middle of the ice, no question. Great trade.
A great trade. I mean, I was thinking maybe one day we go over the Olympic break, if there's time. Maybe we review some of the trades the Bruins have made. And Pavel Zacha is putting up numbers, kind of a down year last year with 47, but the Boston Bruins, he's had 57, 59 points. Those are career highs. His 47, by the way, his 47 points last year would have been higher than any year he had in New Jersey. And this year, what is he at? 36, 37 points right now. He could still put up 50. Absolutely again. So hell of a trade, hell of a return. I agree with you. Where would they be? All right. It's going to wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. Folks, we have a special brew coming out on Thursday with U.S. Olympic team, 1980 team member Jack O'Callahan. We had a great time, Razor. You and I just recorded it the other day. That's going to be coming out as well. Then we will have a Saturday brew on EEI. So a lot of content again coming up. And then we'll see what the heck the weather is going to allow us to do, whether we get back in town or not, and everything from Tampa. But that's what's coming up. You got this episode, the Jack O'Callahan special one coming out on Thursday, and then Saturday as well. There will be another one. All right, everybody, your Bruins continue to win. Next game is Thursday, so enjoy your coffee between now and then.